Thank you for joining our morning session. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadankitam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, let me share my screen.
So let's just take a gray area, could be gray area, and that's recreation. I've heard some very interesting renderings of Krishna describing one should be moderate and one's eating should be in recreation. So in moderation.
Yes, Mataji.
కొంచెం సౌండ్ పెంచరా?
ఇంత ఉంది Mataji.
ఓకే.
Cannot increase Mataji.
హరే కృష్ణ.
Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So, for a devotee, what about recreation? What do we do that's Krishna conscious recreation? So the thought behind the activity is pleasing Krishna, but at the same time it's recreation. Yeah. So it's very easy to say, just to be, out to lunch and it's recreation time. That's like no Krishna. That's not Krishna consciousness. But the same if there's some activity where purposely, let's say yoga, nice, easy one to consider. Someone can do yoga for different reasons. If the reason is this will help me over a period of time, if I do this, to maintain health so I can go on serving Krishna in a proper way. I just started a little practice of, there's a devotee with the Brooklyn Temple that has a pass at the YMCA and go every now and then to go swimming. And my purpose is very clear. I need to do some kind of exercise. Because if I don't do some kind of exercise, my health suffers. I've not been doing exercise in quite some time. So, it's very purposeful. It's recreation, but it's very purposeful. It's not something else. So, the technique is, the conscious choice behind this activity, there should be, this is for Krishna. With full senses. So we have organs for procreation, and if it's for Krishna, that's one thing. If it's not for Krishna, then it's not done. What does for Krishna mean? For propagating God-conscious children? That's the purpose. And otherwise, so, that's the criterion. The for Krishna choice. Automatically it takes care of the other.
Yeah, I think the principle is kind of, I guess it's clear and simple. I guess the challenge is in the
execution.
In the execution, because And personally speaking, there, I find there's a shortage of recreation activities that that you can actually truly, honestly, and this is just my own personal. I shouldn't say that this is for Krishna. And I like when you go to the temple and there's kirtan going on, and that is obviously something that is that is devotional service. And then there's also the desire to go and talk with the devotees, and not all of that is always centered around Krishna.
Well, you can make it centered around Krishna. If whatever conversation starts going in other directions, then you bring it back. It's certainly doable. Those social exchanges, that's also part of Krishna consciousness. As kirtan is part of Krishna consciousness, as deity worship is part of Krishna consciousness. So make it Krishna-centered. Certainly can be done. And if any one of us, our focus is mundane, it's going to attract mundane. If our focus is devoted to Krishna, that's the conversation. For example, I have the experience of being in a temple and just walking to go from one part of the temple to the other part of the temple, and all of a sudden people stop. What's the indication? They were talking something that's not appropriate to be spoken before someone who's serious about Krishna consciousness. So if you're absorbed in the proper way, it attracts, and it attracts. Like attracts like. So we don't need to be rigid kind of thing, but devotional. It attracts devotional conversation, exchanges. Yeah. Yeah. Nice sentence, huh?
So I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on the nature of that real connection, because I guess I find it difficult to explain to people sometimes. Like, they ask me, what do you mean by connection? So if you could kindly elaborate.
Okay, the verse, the sentence in the purport reads, everything is full of sense and logic, and the exchange of views between the master and the disciple is possible only when the reception is submissive and real. So what does real mean, and what does connecting with the spiritual master mean? When people ask that question, how to best respond to that. So when the reception is submissive and real, there can be other kinds of relationships or exchanges where it's formal, but there's no transformation of heart, or transformation of consciousness, no awakening of deeper Krishna consciousness. It's elaborate on it. So we've seen relationships, and we've experienced relationships that are superficial. Someone says some humble statement, I'm the most fallen, kind of statements of humility, and yet their behavior is the opposite. Or nuances in social exchanges where courtesies are spoken, but it's, the whole dynamic, the whole vibration of the exchange is not that at all. So where it's real is, it's like on the soul level. One of the things that can be said about, well, how do you tell the difference? You tell the difference, mentioned during the class, you tell the difference by the consistent, practical quality of service. When it's on the spirit, when something is on the spiritual platform, it's not circumstantial. In this moment, my behavior and speech are a certain way. The next moment, 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, it's something else altogether. Or one day it's this, and the next day it's that. When the spiritual platform is reached, there's consistency. It's of the same quality all the time. Ahoy tatiyaka tiyata. And there's genuine spiritual feeling that the person is experiencing. The qualities of their speech and behavior is naturally pleasing. It's hard to describe in one sense because it's subjective. But then, the objective things are what I'm trying to describe. The qualities of a devotee are consistently exhibited in the character of one where the exchange between guru-disciple is where the reception is submissive and real. It's the characteristics of a Vaishnava are always there. They're not sometimes there and then sometimes not there. They're always there. Subjectively is another thing. One of the contrasting what's not real that Prabhupada is pointing to is where the exchange is like electrical discharge. Prabhupada told the story of seeing on stage one spiritual master and his student, and he was going to transfer his spiritual energy to the student, and the whole drama, and he walks over to the student, he places his hand on the head of the student, and he starts to vibrate like the big charge of electricity is passing through him, and he collapses to the floor, and the student becomes, charged with electricity, and that's not real. So what's real is it's with great, using the same language that Prabhupada is presenting here, with great care, with great logic, with sense, with reason, with careful understanding, and subjectively one understands and accepts in a submissive manner. Then that's a real connection, and the real connection is demonstrated by performing according to that understanding in a consistent manner. Then there's actually transformation. There's actually a real connection that's established. it's sustainable, durable. It's not an act. It's real. Consistent, steady in its exhibition. You have some thoughts on this?
I was thinking that for that to be very consistent, seems like there has to be that absorption all the time and that very clear focus.
Yeah.
Does it kind of correlate with stages that we do with this intimately reminder and very constant reminder, like absorption, meditation, samadhi? Because if people like want it, they're very sincere, the connection seems real for that moment, but then the focus is lost because there's not that absorption. Can that connection be real and then
Yes.
the lack of focus lost after a period of time and then
Yes.
reestablish?
Yes. We have to have that experience. I mean, and here's a common thing that I hear. You know, spending some time in some place, and, you know, a seminar or something at the end. Like one of the universal questions is, Maharaj, how can we maintain this? You know, this absorption. So the absorption is real. But if it dissipates, it commonly dissipates. So it doesn't mean it wasn't a real connection, it wasn't a real experience. Purification is gradual. Our contaminations settle in again. One devotee uses this phrase, the bungee cord phenomenon. So the bungee cord, it stretches, but then because it's elastic, you leave it alone, it collapses again. So we have a tendency to revert to our conditioned ways, and therefore sustained practice, because we're convinced in the ways of devotional service, that practice becomes our second nature. But it also means that's purity. Another very important component of sustaining attentiveness is this point of gratitude I'll describe. If you have a bucket that has holes in it, however many times you fill it up, the bucket's going to leak out. So what can, if we have and we receive an experience and we're feeling full from that experience, how to keep that full feeling. So if there is a deep sense of gratitude that then expresses itself in the form of sharing that same experience with others, recreating that same experience in relationship with others, the fullness tends to stay. Now there's variety, there's variegatedness in the spiritual world. This is something that recently happened. From the Japa retreat that we had in Maryland, and then following that Japa retreat that we had together in California, some of the same things that were very inspiring, absorbing in those two retreats, I found practically item by item that we were doing was just recreating that same experience for others, including even, Vivian Barr's recital of chanting slokas is the way that she had learned from Dravida. So I was very inspired, it was very moving. So then I asked some of the devotees in Chicago to learn from Vivian Bar. So they did it. They did video conferencing and they learned and they performed. And it was very moving. So experience, just recreating the experience, sharing with others out of an expression of gratitude for having received something very wonderful. And that act of giving with feeling that which one has received sustains the attentiveness and sustains the mood. Like one devotee just the other day speaking, when was it that you were the happiest in Krishna consciousness? And didn't take much contemplation. When I was so happy to share what I was learning in Krishna consciousness with other people. And in my assessment at least, in a mood of innocence, not in a mood of converting people, just in a mood of happily sharing something. It's joyful. And if that just sharing with others, that we say preaching Krishna consciousness, but just sharing the experience of Krishna consciousness with other people. There's a sense of fullness, and there's certainly a sense of absorption. Like recently what you all experienced with the Rath Yatra and this thing with introducing people to chanting japa. Wow. And can that be recreated? I'm sure it can be recreated. So then comes the challenge of, okay, now those persons that were introduced to chanting japa, take them the next step and take, so then it's a relationship, an ongoing relationship, and that's Krishna consciousness. Very exciting. Which then tells us, gee, we really need to go more deeply in our chanting, and so forth. So it's not just doing the behavior and over again, it's going more deeply into that very activity and connecting with the sense of gratitude to Prabhupada and those representing Prabhupada that have given one this experience. The message, the teaching, whatever it is, chanting, the experience. But feelings of gratitude are behind those recreating of the experience. It's attentiveness is there, and then the submission. What was the phrase again? Everything is full of sense and logic, and the exchange of views between the master and disciple is possible only when the reception is submissive and real. And so the second time around question, Rupa Goswami has some terminology of different degrees of attentiveness and absorption. Does it apply? Yes. Anything else? Okay, so Prabhupada,
Hare Krishna. Any comments or any questions from today's discussion? Yes, sir, Bhare Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I mean, that statement that relationship between a guru and the disciple works only when the submission is real. So that statement is very nice actually, and based on that, we need to be scripture was elaborated. So that was the main thing. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Any comments or questions from other devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
As Prabhu here, Mahal mentioned we have to share our experience of Krishna consciousness with other people, Prabhu. Then we can recreate consciousness in them. I like that one, Prabhu. So always our senses should engage in hearing and chanting of the Krishna Katha, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Maharaj was nicely mentioning that like we should have that gratitude. So whatever we receive, then we should share with others. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Kumarka Mataji, are you on call?
Yes, Prabhu.
Would you like to share, Mataji?
Yes, I was also contemplating on the how important gratitude is in Krishna consciousness, and it is out of the relationship with the spiritual master cannot become very deep if we lack that gratitude for what we have received already. So, and out of gratitude for what we have received, and so then we start sharing so that others can get the same joy out of it. So I was also very much when he was asked about what was the happiest moment in Krishna consciousness, he said that sharing joyfully Krishna Katha with others, not with the motive of converting others or something, just the exchanges. Like we heard the other day, he was with some of his own god brothers, and they were just enjoying talking, and Radhana Swamaraj had to come and remind them, yes, it is time up. So it was very that they take pleasure, just Tushyant teacher, Raman teacher, in that Matchitta, Matgata Prana, that Odayanta Parasparam, that verse. So Maharaj, like people, the pure devotees, they take so much pleasure in discussing the nuances of bhakti, what they have read, and what how nice it has been written. So It was very nice. That part also I liked, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. And here one more point, like see, in usual places where one guru put his hand on the top of the student, head of the student, and he starts like electrical electricity is passing through him, and he collapses on the floor, and it's nothing like that. And Maharaj mentioned like Prabhupada is presenting here with great care, with great logic, with sense, with reason, with careful understanding. And subjectively one understands and accepts in a submissive manner. Then that's where the real connection happens. And with that, like the sustainability, uh, the transformation, the real transformation takes place, which makes the relation, the connection more sustainable and durable. That is also like Maharaj explained very nicely. Yes, Sonali Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Did I
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
No problem. Yeah. So I liked one point of Maharaj where he was giving the analogy of bucket with the holes, and practice is like filling the water in that bucket, but having a deep gratitude within about like how I got this Krishna consciousness, and that is actually will make the practice even better and will fill the bucket actually. So. Uh, Gratitude towards everyone, gratitude toward like what I have in the Krishna consciousness is will drive it more. So uh, that one point I like very much. The second one is it's kind of a question and discussion thing where Maharaj initially was mentioning about the humility, and in like sometime act as a human, act in humility, but there is a behavior and humility, the talk and the behavior is little different, so there is a gap, and that gap is kind of a nuance is what he is saying. But is it like acting a little bit at the initially in a humble way will make a slow progress? Because if it if it is not acting in the humility, then there is a chance of conflict between the devotees as well. So just want to have this as a topic of discussion for some. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing up. Yugal Kishore Prabhu, would you like to respond for Vele Prabhu's discussion? Shamkon Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu is
Hare
not
Krishna
here
Mataji.
today. Yeah,
Okay.
he is not here. I didn't quite understand Vilay Prabhu's question. Is it like in the initial time when we do not have humility, even then we should try to cultivate it by
Correct, Mother. Yeah, that's
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Yes.
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes. So it's correct, Prabhu. Prabhupada usually says that fake it until you make it. That's okay to fake it. But then there has to be true introspection too, and revealing the heart that I am behaving it in this way, but um, I am processing this way. To someone whom you can reveal your actual state of heart or the consciousness. So until that time, till the transparency is there with some guide, it's okay to fake it, Prabhu. We should be knowing that we are faking it, and we should
yeah,
be ready to admit it that we are faking it. But I'm genuine in
yes.
the feelings. Yes. And one other thing that I appreciated in Maharaj today, I mean, while hearing the lecture, is what a clarity of speech he had. I mean, it to me it showed the uncluttered mind that he carries. Every word that he used, especially the points Vilay Prabhu made, Kumarika Mataji made about gratitude and this practice, every point that he makes is so much with clarity. There is no clutter in the mind. We usually juggle with words. We usually juggle with. It's not a question of English only, but it's also the choice of the words that he uses. So I was appreciating that quality in Maharaj, that it is coming because of purity. Somewhere the mind is pure, uncluttered, and these thoughts, these words come out naturally from his mouth when he's speaking this. So it is his reflection of purity. That is one thing that I liked. And the other thing that uh, I liked was he admitted that recreation is important, and he also said that he goes to swimming those times of the years. He said, it's important for me. I do not exercise, so I need to exercise, and I'm going for swimming. So it was a genuine admission of this is what I need, my body needs, and I'm doing it. It's not like a faking of I'm pretending to be something that I'm not. Or usually it is said that swimming or all the different kinds of sports should not be entertained. One should give more priority to other devotional things. But Maharaj was very genuinely accepting that this is something that his body needs. And then he was very clear in telling that the consciousness behind recreation is very important. If Krishna is missing in picture, then that recreation is totally materialistic. But if we can keep Krishna in the center, then that becomes the devotional aspect. That's something I like, Prabhu. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for bringing these qualities of Maharaj from your observations. Yes, Delalta Prabhu.
Two questions, Prabhu. First question, like this gratitude things Maharaj told. So, how do we cultivate the gratitude? Is it like I just become conscious of what I'm receiving from a person, and that's how the gratitude will develop? That's question number one. Question number two, when it comes to recreation, as the practicing devotees, what are the recreations actually we can go for? Because that description or the detail about the recreation, maybe I never came across. So those two things I would like to know. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for putting up your questions. Any answers from any of the devotees? Would like to offer a response for Delalta Prabhu's question? Harisham Prabhu, are you on the call?
Did you call Harisham Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
He's
He is
not
on
in
the
the
call.
town today, Mataji. Prabhu, he's not there.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you for confirmation.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No problem. Mataji. Yeah, any other devotee wants to offer response for?
Hare Krishna Prabhu Chaitanya Pranam.
Yes,
I
Mataji.
I can only attempt to give my views for the first question. It's only attempt. I don't know what is the correct answer. And how to develop gratitude? It only comes when you
somehow get the feeling of helplessness. The at, till the moment you can see that you can control the things, you have things in line as per your plan, everything is working as you expected, or if not everything, at least 60%, 70%. Till that time, we don't feel the presence of other factors, other environments in our life. We feel that okay, fine, something is working, but it's me who is actually driving it. It is when the life shows you the helplessness. Whatever you do, what matter you can put your mind, brain, money, um, strength, it's not going to work out. In that helplessness, it starts that it's not me. It's not me who is driving. It is something else somewhere. Then the question comes what it is, where it is. And then when the thing happens after that, then we feel that it happened. But it was being done through me, via me, but it was not me. So that is when it starts. It has probably the gradual progression, but then the starting point is that what I feel, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Is it fine, Prabhu? We can keep these two questions open for Monday. We'll continue discussion.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Even
7:10, Prabhu.
I like Shweta Mataji's response also, that during the helplessness, if we receive something, we value this a lot, and naturally the gratitude comes. Thank you, Prabhu. We can continue Monday also. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bharat.
sure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Can you
Thank you.
post it in the group, Prabhu?
Hare
So
Krishna,
that we
Mataji.
don't forget until Monday. I'm saying, can the questions be posted in the group so that we don't forget the questions on Monday?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll end off the call. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचल श्री लताश ठाकुर की जय। जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। हिज होलीनेस रोमपस महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.